Hello dear all, Happy New Year. Just want to share a few thoughts here with you, since I get a lot of replies and a lot of requests on continuing sharing what comes up for me, how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, how's the family, etc., etc. So just like a little insight here. I'm definitely going through a process. It's definitely nothing and no one could ever prepare you. And mostly I understood from living through this month, almost a month, that certain things you can't heal. And just like wisely one of my therapists said, certain things you can't heal, you just have to learn to live through it. And this was actually one of me and Ephraim's point that he, hello my dear, always used to say, there is only one way out, is through. So this is basically what's going on. Certain emotions come up and I just have to be ready for them, like a most important guest in my life, and live through them. And one thing you have to understand, you could never be prepared for them. You could never know which emotions will come up. Certain things will trigger, certain things will remind you, or will look like something that reminds you of something that you lived with your loved ones. And it could be a bunch of emotions showing up, and it could be just one very intense one. And you just have to like open yourself up and let it all go through you as much as possible, as we discussed in the previous recordings, if you remember. But I don't think it's going to be a short process. I think it's, again, you see, like my brain is trying to prepare myself. It could be a short process. When I'm not attacked by those emotions or feelings, it feels like it's gone forever. But when I'm sitting right in the middle of them, it feels like they will never leave. So there is no way of knowing. It's an interesting experience. It's very, it discovers new me in it, because as I said, this was my first kind of interaction with losing a loved one. And it gets intense sometimes. But I just want to share with you something that came up as well. Somebody reached out to me, and it's a client that I've been working with them as couples before they got divorced, and then working individually with her husband and with her. And then when they got divorced, I was working again individually with them separately. And when she reached out, she wanted to find like a kind of a support system from me. Like, look, just a preface, I spoke a little bit about this lengthily on my Telegram channel yesterday, but I'm going to elaborate here in English, because I think it's important. The relationship is really important to develop, to mature into, to deepen into, to grow into something more expansive. I think man-woman relationship is actually a core of everything that we have. And Ephraim spoke a lot about it. Our health depends on that. Our wealth depends on that. Development and success of our children depends on that. A lot of things get pushed away. A lot of things get kind of mistreated. Man-woman respect and love kind of gets forgotten in the mundane, in the routine, and in the responsibilities. And like if there's some crisis in the family, for sure, you kind of push away the love and respect between man and woman. And I just want to address a few points that was brought up through this phone call that I had, and discussion that created like a lengthy, more deeper discussion when we spoke deeper. So this woman did not want to get divorced, and her husband insisted, and they have children, and they were married for a number of years, and he insisted, and she felt extremely bitter. And I think it's been maybe a year and a half now that they're divorced. I hope she's okay that I'm mentioning it here, but I'm not mentioning her name, and I hope nobody's going to be able to calculate her here. So she's been suffering and she's been hurt, not so much her husband, but her, I guess she went through a lot of unfairness and struggle and like, look what I have and how it happened to me and why is it happening to me. Hello, thank you so much for your hearts. So she basically wanted to find a support system. Like, here it is, Miriam lost her husband. Obviously over there nobody died, thank goodness. Miriam lost her husband, and she probably feels a bunch of same feelings as I do. And she probably will understand me better now that, you know, it's been unfair for her, and here she is left with one kid, and she's young and she's a happening woman, and he was, you know, there for her and she was there for him, and like, boom, something like this unfair happened. I'm sure she has a bunch of emotions that we could kind of like bounce between each other and have those things. Thank you so much, my dear. So as we were talking, obviously she needed support and she needed like a let out of from her system, how heavy it is for her and how difficult, and it's been a while and she feels it's unfair and she's been mistreated, and she's like, you probably feel the same. You probably feel mistreated by God or by universe or whatever it is, and you probably feel like bitter feelings and like, come on, why do I have to go through this? And like, and interestingly, with a bunch of feelings that come up, the rejection of this specific experience, or like bitterness or aggression towards this specific experience, I don't have. Maybe it will come up, but I don't have it. It's honest truth, you know. I don't feel I've been mistreated. I don't feel God punished me too much or too harshly, or I don't even treat it as a punishment, because I feel we, on a more conscious level, choose experiences. And this particular experience is a bunch of lessons, a bunch of unbelievable, packed developments that I could only go through or inquire, so to speak, if not only through that kind of loss, right? So I couldn't connect to her, but I wanted to hear her out and I wanted to be there for her on that level. And I kept on saying, I'm not necessarily connecting on the same level of bitterness or being upset or angry at God or universe or his soul or his persona or something like that, because she kept on like hinting, if he would have done chemo, don't you feel like he would have survived? All along, honest truth, I felt he is on a path of transformation. All along, I felt cancer is an amazing gift that he could create certain relationship with and build certain kind of even friendship with, and like, hey, why you here? What you want from me? And I always left it for him to decide. I wasn't his guru. I wasn't his rabbi. I wasn't his teacher. Whenever he would ask me what intuitively comes up for you, because he really, I think, even overestimated my intuition. He sometimes even said I have prophetic intuition. I wanted to step out because I think it's his relationship with his specific path, with his soul, with God in him. As much as I'm there as a partner, and as much as you as a partner see certain things, it's better not to mix in. There is much more than a cancer. There is much more than heaviness of pain and discomfort. There is much more to it that his soul kind of wanted to take, right? Obviously, you want him to be not in pain, especially the last few months he was refusing to take painkillers. I was begging him even Tylenol, but at the end I understood this whole thing is his path. pain was included in it, a certain connection to it, certain clarity of his mind till the last minute. He didn't want to be kind of taken by the drugs. This is all his, and as a partner, we need to honor it, right? So going back to this woman, she wanted to find that a kind of support system for me and wanted me to open up and say, yes, it's unfair. Like, why am I treated like that? I've been good and I've been supportive and I'm such a good wife and I was such a good mom and here I am, had a kid at 45 and when I was pregnant, 2 months, we found out and we were completely consumed by this cancer. Like bitter, sour expressions she wanted to hear from me, but it didn't come out. Honestly and truly, it didn't come out. And I said, it might be completely lunatic sounding to you if I say, I'm actually grateful for this experience. Every single bit of it that Ephraim introduced me to and invited me to and took me even into his death experience, leading him kind of into another world. I was right there and I was the only one. It's unbelievably insightful and unbelievably transformative and unbelievably packed with so much, even on a relationship level, like man and woman. I understood myself so differently in different kind of setup. And I started sharing with her. I said, if you start accepting, if you say to yourself, I, on some level, chose every single lesson. I chose to be single. I chose to go through divorce. I chose that he would divorce me and he would insist on divorce. My soul wanted exactly that. And he upstairs signed the contract. Okay, I will play your game and I will insist on divorce at this and this state of our marriage in order so she, as a human, go through certain lessons and mature into something new and develop and become somebody different. And I said, just accept, just not accept out of devastation and like depression. Of course I have to accept. Yeah, no, like truly connect with that essence that your soul wanted that. Your soul, like my soul wanted to lose a husband. And on a human level, it sounds ridiculous. But on a soul level, soul wants experiences as human. And wants deep experiences, some of the souls, right? Wants transformative experiences, experiences that could support and uplift others, that could give an insight to others. So I said to her, in a man-woman relationship, you've been as such, and just like picture or define yourself how you entered into this relationship, who you were, what were your values, how you view the guy. Did you respect him on a certain level? Did you not respect guys generally on a certain level? What was love defined for you as? And just say to yourself, where is this experience being a year and a half, 2 years divorced with the guy that wanted, that imposed, that wanted to divorce? I didn't want a divorce. Where am I holding with all the respect and love and a whole guy world, guy-girl relationship, a whole idea of romantic love? What is it all about? And she started opening up, and I just want to share a few points with you. Maybe it could be insightful for you as well. The reason why we don't have relationship, or why relationship is taken away from us, or why it's abruptly stops, or why when you have it, you don't feel really connected, or you don't feel like it's the right chemistry anymore and you're done with it, but you can't step out, is because you're not connected with exactly what's the next step, where are we going next. We kind of leave the mechanics of the routine and like, okay, husband, wife, okay, I'm single, okay, husband passed away, okay, we got divorced. And like there is no like stop and deepen inside. There is a reason for every single minute of your status that you have. There is a reason for it, and there is a reason why we have it, and there is a certain lessons that we'll learn as we are in those in-between stages, so to speak, right? So we started unpacking her personal things that she was just speaking, and I picked up. One of the things that I picked up is definitely the attitude towards men generally. Either I could do it all myself, I don't really need a guy. It's good, it's fun to get married, it's okay to get married, but there is very like a wobbly approach between two thoughts. I definitely need a guy to fall on his head and like make him responsible for everything I need to do in my life. And he's going to be my dad, and he's going to be my mom, and he's going to be a good friend, and he's going to call for me and push things for me and buy stuff for me and impress me and blah, blah, blah. And then there is like another kind of approach or view. I don't need guys. That comes from bitterness and from being burned out a few times, or being misunderstood, mistreated, where you're like, I actually could handle my life fine. And I'm not saying those are wrong statements. It's the energy behind it, right? I could handle my life fine. I don't need a guy to support me. I could raise my kids on my own. I could provide for myself. I could travel alone. I could buy myself a cup of coffee. I could make my day romantically happy for myself. I could think thoughts of how beautiful I am, look in the mirror with like beautiful thoughts and blah, 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 and buy myself flowers and get myself necklace and treat myself with like rest and calm for a day or two. And like, you have to pick up the energy behind it. That extreme wobble that happens in us, it's none of it is really healthy. Both are coming from a certain experiences, whether from your own or from previous or whatever you observe or took energetically from your family, from the woman you observed growing up, your grandmother, your mother, your aunts, your older sisters, your mom's friends, where how they treated their guys, were they suffering with them, were they like their slaves, were they treating them like their servants for them. Like those dynamics we pick up a lot, and it just sits in us, right? That becomes our kind of guide how we choose our partners. But I just want to bring up one point here, saying that I noticed that a lot, and I noticed this in this particular woman. When I started asking her different questions, is she open to date? And she said yes, she was open right away, and she just wanted to prove to him that she is capable of dating and all the rest of it. So there is a guy's world, there is a man's world, right? And some of them could be your potential partners. Some of them are not your potential partners. And whenever a guy approaches a woman, there is an element in every single woman that I came across that she right away turns her hunter inside, and she's like, he could be my husband, right? He could be a romantic partner. And man gets really overwhelmed. So initially that has to be chilled. Especially I noticed that in the religious circles, where there's like a really limited possibility for man and woman to interact without knowing that they're going into a relationship. There's a good and bad side in it. But generally, just when a man approaches you or is interested in you or wants to speak to you or throws a compliment or says something nice or asks you a question, there's just a general respect that we need to shine towards that man, without thinking, oh, I'm going to respect him because he could be my potential husband or he could be my potential lover. No, there's just a general respect. There's certain things we respect men for, and this is where people get lost. Like they get overly done with respect, and it's like too overwhelming for a man, when it's like too much respect and honor and attention. Just like flow with that respect. What are we generally respecting men for? There's certain things a man could do that a woman cannot do, and she just accepts it as a matter of fact, right? Certain things a man could bring up, certain emotions and feelings and tendencies or appreciation of herself in a woman will never be able to do it for herself, and she just respects that part. Just the bare presence of a man, just bare look of a man on a woman creates some biochemicals in her that she would never be, even for herself, for her own health, that she would never be able to kind of produce it on her own. Men generally in the world do certain things, the way they think, the way they view stuff. We would never be able to view it this way due to our different system as we're built and as we're wired. And we just respect that part, and we just honor, and we're grateful, and we're thankful. And if their guys are too pushy, we need to, with respect, to stop them and to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't answer those questions. They're getting too personal. Or I wish I was able to, but I can't, right? Just general respect. And if you notice that you suspect, push away, wish to put down a guy, want to push them, want to make sure they feel like you don't need them, you're not interested in them, you rather even not look at them, just know this is some trauma showing up. Maybe it's your grandma, maybe it's your mother's trauma that you need to address it. That's also something beautiful that showed up only with interaction with a man. And you should honor and respect and appreciate that. There's a certain trauma that showed up. I didn't know I was hating men on that level, or men would like bring up certain emotions in me. And here they are, they showing up. Maybe next time I speak to my therapist, I should address it. Maybe there's a certain level of jealousy that shows up, certain level of competition, certain level of uncertainty or instability in myself and my look. I'm not sure about my look. I'm not sure about my qualities. I doubt them. Certain stuff only come up when you interact with men, but it doesn't mean he's your potential partner. And when this man says about his wife or praises his girlfriend or wishes to date someone and he tells you stuff, right? And you take it very harshly and you say, oh, he shouldn't have mentioned that to me. It just stop and say, the only reason why I'm reacting to it is because some part of me thought this is a potential partner, but he doesn't have to be. He could be just a nice man that deserves all my respect generally towards men's world, is sharing about his wish, about his partner. And interestingly, I'm going to share this insight with you. I carried that throughout our relationship with Ephraim. Like when he started reaching out to me, actually Facebook is where he found me. He started reaching out to me. He said somebody suggested, but they didn't want me to mention their name. And I said, oh, I don't make shidduchim. I didn't even know he was asking me like to date. I thought he was asking me to help him out for dating. And he's like, no, wait. I want to talk to you about you. I said, first of all, I'm not interested. I never announced that I'm interested. And like right away started pushing away, right? And as we built certain connection, and it was a long discussion back and forth, I was not interested. He was very interested. That was a conflict already. He used to bring up a lot of date possibilities that he's going through because I was so not interested. And because he was so interested, and he would like take 3 dates in a day, you know, just to check it out and just to test it out. And he would share with me. And it's like on a ridiculous level, I would help him sort some of his disagreement with this girl and the other. And I did not feel it was not right thing to do. Because the minute I felt he is already approaching me like a potential husband, and it took a while, right? Until that happened, I was available to help him out with whatever girl issues he had, and I would reach out, of course, with his permission and with her permission, and I would try to make peace and try to make things work and try to push stuff. Why am I bringing this up here? Is only because we get stuck. We either push them away because we don't want to be hurt again, or because the trauma is still very fresh and wasn't healed and wasn't processed properly, or because we kind of have a deep aggression towards men that also needs to be worked on, or we start like hanging over there and like possessing them, so to speak, you know. And a woman's energy is much stronger usually than men, and it says like it's up to a woman to decide where the relationship is going to take them. The point is just be able to just keep it on a friendship level until you feel it's transforming into a deeper feelings and deeper commitment and deeper devotion and certain level of love that you could detect and feel, right? That was our discussion over there, that she has this disconnect, that guy either is only a potential husband or he is like complete nothing, and I should never talk to him and completely cut all the connections. Number two was, we discussed a lot that the fact that she's so attached and with bitter feelings and understandings and debates and inner contradictions and arguments that she goes through every day towards her ex, and that applies actually towards a deceased partner. You give a lot of energy there. Your ex could build an excellent business on your energy because you supporting and nourishing, either with love, unfitted love, unwanted love from his side, or longing for him or wanting him back or wishing he will come back, or being angry at him or being angry at the whole situation and how he kind of did what he did towards you. All those emotions are very nurturing for a man. Man could build his next family, give birth to kids using your energy, and create an unbelievable business and make good money. And that's therapeutically, it's important to end the contract. Take everything you need to take from this relationship, give what you took above, extra, so to speak, like that is not yours, return his, take yours, close the door, and finish. No checking on him, no wishing he come back, no wanting him to at least inquire about you, no sneaking into social media and checking how does his new wife look, etc., etc. That applies to married couples more than girlfriend-boyfriend, but with girlfriend and boyfriend, especially if there was intimate connection, that pretty much is the same. With the deceased ones, I'm just briefly going to say I'm actually planning to do a webinar on the whole insight. It's going to be really insightful on what happens to a soul, how do I feel, where his soul is, and what happened right before, and how can we stay connected, if we could stay connected or not. And I'm just going to give a little glimpse here. When a woman can't let go, and if she, let's say a woman or a man of deceased partner, especially if it was abrupt death, or it was unfair and it was too young, and it was you were not ready or he was not ready, and it's like it's hard to let go after a year, right? For a year it's understandable, but after a year, if a woman can't let go and she misses him a lot and she still loves him, she doesn't know if she could love anyone else the same way like she loved him, blah blah blah. It's very clearly to me, and I saw it in sources as well, the soul doesn't leave this realm. soul stays here. It's not a bad thing necessarily when one of the members or a close family member cannot let go. A soul stays and the soul leaves of you because, not because it's kind of like a demon, right? No. The soul doesn't have certain vibrations to hang on here for longer. So the cause, the reason who it's staying here for becomes the source for their sustenance here. So it's like a different vibes already that the soul has. They got rid of their persona, they got rid of their body, they got rid of their heavily kind of earthy emotions and feelings. They're just like much vibrant, much, there's no even conflicts there. There's no duality there. But the soul would not leave if it mentally and emotionally a close relative, it could be a child, let's say an older child, cannot let go, or a partner or another family member or a lover or whoever, right? It doesn't matter who. If somebody on earth cannot let go, the soul doesn't leave. And the soul stays here and it leaves off you, and you become its main source. Besides the fact that you cannot focus on whatever is life calling you for, you give an extra energy to kind of unnecessary world. It's a disconnection from this world and you connecting to some other realms, which is unnecessary for you. It's important to let go. It's important to interrupt the contracts, to finish the contracts, to say thank you. I'm going to be teaching different methods, how to write a letter, how to receive a final letter, and how to kind of like end that relationship. That could be triggering because a lot of people might feel, and this is what came up with that woman, the experiences that she got with this particular husband of hers. On some level, she did not want to let go because she thought she's giving up that experience. She's going to forever forget, and that will not be her resource or her source of development as a woman. And it's not true. You will never lose connection, whether a person dies or separates you or hates you, that used to love you, or you never see him again. If there was a connection, especially a romantic connection, especially a man-woman connection, this relationship stays forever. That unit stays forever. It's just on a physical and mental and a personal level, we are limited. We cannot hold on. The capacity of our brain and our physical heart, so to speak, are very limited. And we need to, on some level, shut the door, take the resource from that experience and make it yours. You have to own it. You have to give back to him what belongs to him. And you just have to remember that you can never, you just talk to that specific part, you tune in when you have a session with a therapist, you tune in and you say, you're very scared that if you're not gonna stop hating him or loving him or missing him, you will let go forever and you will lose that connection. I just want to tell you it's impossible. And it right away sits right. When a right therapist holds the right space for you, you feel that there is a part in you that is very primitive and sees things very primitively and is afraid to let go. It's rather hate forever or miss forever, but not let go, right? So you talk to that part inside you and you say, you're afraid, I understand. I understand how it could be scary and it meant so much to you and it was so deep for you, etc. But you will never lose contact. And just sit with it, right? And that was important for that woman to also kind of take in, to digest. Another important factor here to mention is woman-man competition. there is an element, oh, who is his wife next? Who will be his wife? Or how is she now? Is she happy? Is she happier than me? Why was he not like this with me? Blah, 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 right? And you could compare yourself to a previous wife. Let's say you're marrying someone who was in a relationship before, and you really want to check out and find out who is his wife from before, what she says to people about this relationship. And there's a certain level of respect for a man and respect for generally woman's energy, where you choose not to be part of those competitions. You don't want in a fight bring up or go back to your ex, or I hear it a lot, like in a relationship when a guy says, oh, she always brings up my ex, and she always talks about them, and she always says, oh, you were so much in love there, why did you drop it and came looking for something else? There's like a deeper bitterness, and there's a deeper competition where women choose to compete. Is she better? Am I better? Am I better? Or is she better? Is he gonna have better? Like, who is better? Etc. etc. You could choose to let go. There's a much more vibration between potential partner, between all the old partnership that you have. You could clear and heal those relationships because they exist forever and they're always there as a resource for you. You could just go back there and say, yeah, I was competing, I was fighting, I was proving, I was even killing with some element of aggression, wishing bad, right? And you kind of go back there and you just say, I'm choosing not to compete. If I'm the right woman for this specific man, it will show up. It will be clear that he's not going to go back in his memory about his previous relationship or wish for another woman. And if he's the right man for me, I'm not gonna have those thoughts of regret or pain about previous relationship. You just have to understand, all your previous relationship is going to come in the kind of a support system for you to build your next relationship. It's like your resource. It's like your tools and your blessing, and everything you inquire there is going to show up and be in front of you here. Your maturity, your ability to kind of pause and be there and be present and be conscious and be loving and be respectful and be honorable and know where it's taking you off and know how to address it, etc., etc. And you will never lose anything. You always have what you inquired. We always take everything we possibly could take from the relationship, and then somebody is leaving or dying or something happens. It's because you took everything, and just believe in that. You took everything you possibly can from this relationship. It's exhausted itself. And now it's time to move on. And now it's time to step into something different. Maybe single life is also a period where you could build a relationship with yourself. Go back to yourself. It's also very precious time. It's also very honorable time when you redefine your value system. You want different things now. You want to kind of sort them and prioritize them, etc., etc. So you choose not to compete. No matter how it comes and shows up and invites you, you just say to yourself, to your mind, to your heart, out of honor to all the women out there, and out of honor to all the men out there and the potential relationship for the future in the world, I'm consciously going to choose not to compete. I am who I am. I'm definitely bettering myself every day. I'm working on myself. But there is no competition. Is she more beautiful? Is she more curvy? Is she more younger? Is she more pretty? Is she more smart? Is she more developed? Is she more spiritual? Is she more religious? Doesn't matter. You are who you are. Honor yourself. Be in contact with who you are. Treasure yourself. Be connected. Be in love with yourself first, right? So that also came up in our discussion with this woman. And letting go was the huge one. It was hard for her to understand, and it was painful for her to let go. And I think what finally, and it's for sure we'll unpack after we spoke in her, but I felt energetic shift when I said to her, if you step into relationship being not done on some level with your with your ex-husband, you will probably attract someone who is not done too. He will either have love or hate towards his previous wife, and there'll be a bunch of lessons there for both of you that will serve itself. But do you want that? And it's kind of like took her and another realization, like, what is it that I truly want to play out in my next relationship? So it's important to know when something is finishes, and it's important to be smart and wise to finish it right. And it's important not to lie to yourself and say, for sure I finished, but just open a discussion with me how horrible he was and how terrible he was to me and how unfair he finished it all up and how he's mistreating me now and how even he invites me to a potential kind of revisit of our relationship. And look how like out of touch he is. Like, I would offer like hours and hours, and that's not called finished relationship. Finished relationship means no matter what discussions come up, no matter who triggers you, you're done. You're not there. And if they will show up again and will reignite again, it will be a new body of new relationship. You will address it as new, not as old coming back. So you actually have to be done. And be honest with yourself, are you done? Are you nurturing somebody's business and somebody's family by hating your ex-husband? Are you supporting someone? Are you a support system for someone by missing someone and loving someone? Just to mention here also, like, imaginations, like she also said, I constantly go into my like world of imagination, imagining myself with him living my life with the ex-husband, and we could have done that together, and we could have accomplished this and have more kids or move somewhere or travel somewhere. A lot of therapists might say to you that it's not useful to just indulge in imaginations, especially if they're not potentially could turn out. Some people translate it as manifestation, like that's how you manifest things. You kind of like create a certain reality and you live in it. I would say like this. I think it's, especially in this case, right? If somebody dies or somebody says for sure he's not coming back and he doesn't want this anymore, he doesn't feel the love and connection anymore, blah, blah, blah. Your imaginations could serve as an escape from something painful that's coming up. Let's say some emotions are showing up and you're not ready for it. You don't do regular therapy. You don't kind of mature in your value system and development as a human being. You're not growing. You're like stuck in the mud, so to speak. Imaginations will creep in order to make it easier for you to pass this wave of certain emotions that you needed to kind of withhold or be able to withstand and pass and let it pass through you. So all those like flying out of this reality thoughts that if they take you and you start imagining stuff, just know it could be for that reason. You kind of check out from here and now, and whatever here and now is showing right now is maybe like a major hurricane on the horizon. It's coming up and you're not ready for it. So your subconscious takes you to illusionary kind of realm where you could just like picture through the pink lens everything and like imagine blah, blah, blah. And some deep parts of you will be in touch with that hurricane, but conscious part of you will be numb to it because you're not ready to deal with it, right? And I think there is a place for it, and there is, I think there is a place for just being checked out sometimes in like la la land, so to speak, right? But if a person is mature, they will lose interest in la la land's stuff. You kind of understand certain regrets and feelings will show up, and you show up in front of them, and you go through it, and you face it, and you go through it, and that builds you up. And one of the last things that I mentioned to her, I remember, was our relationship is like our currency. Yeah, every one of us have a certain currency. Like every one of us are capable of receiving or earning a certain amount of money. We have certain capacity, and in all the areas we have those capacities. In a relationship, there is like an X amount capacity unless you enlarge it consciously and you go into a painful expansion. It's just like pregnancy, right? It expands you, and then you kind of give birth, and it's a painful process. You have to know it's a painful process. But if people don't want to go through a painful process, they usually do not get expanded, right? They go back in circles to the same kind of energetic capacity of relationship. So just so you know, when you lose someone, so to speak, you do not lose that energetic exchange. Whatever you were holding before that interruption happened, whatever love, whatever respect, whatever honor, whatever devotion, whatever commitment, whatever sexuality, whatever kind of creativity you were able to hold on to, this is exactly what you're going to step into next. This is your capacity. You could never lose it. You could actively degrade or upgrade on your own, but right now this is where you're holding. You're holding earning $10,000 a month, and you already matured into it, and you've been in that kind of exchange with money. This is your capacity. You could learn how to make $15,000 a month. You could learn how to make $100,000 a month, but that comes with a lot of pain and a lot of willingness to accept and change and mature into and let go, etc., etc. So in a relationship, it's very much like that. If you look back and you say, yes, I lost the partner that I was able to exchange that capacity with, but that capacity stays with me. And if I stop my mind rushing into something, forcing a guy to be my romantic partner, hunting for the right guy, wishing for whoever says hello to me, want to like continue this relationship. If I stop that and I just like, no, I have that capacity, the right partner that has a next potential to exchange with me on that level, will show up, will be there, will not be there and leave next minute. He will stay put, and he will reassure me that he is staying put for long, and I know he is there, and I know I'm here, and I know we have some flow going on. That energy will show up. You will see it coming, and you will see it coming exactly on the level that you left it on. That's also important to understand. Thank you everyone for watching. Please write and share. Write your questions, your realizations. Share with me your insights that you opened in listening to this. Tell me if it's beneficial. Please share with people that you think might benefit from this. I said it before and I'm going to say it again. I have YouTube English channel where there's much more YouTube videos there and some meditation. Some of you asked if I have meditations. I do. I have some for sale and some for free on YouTube. I still didn't decide whether I want to make the webinar about this transformation, about what I was living through with Ephraim, or living through now, and in English or in Russian, maybe in both, if there'll be enough interest. Just write if you're interested and you're already signing in. It's important for me to see how many people are interested in kind of more deeper discussion than that. More, maybe it will be for 2 days, maybe it will be for 3 days. We will take what's the word, a little breaks to digest, to integrate, etc. But it's definitely deep information. A lot of practices, a lot of letting go, closing the contracts, opening for the new, being grateful to what we have now, understanding where I'm holding as a woman, how I treat men. Do I have aggression towards men? Do I have aggression towards women? Am I competing? Am I struggling with identifying me being good enough? All that. So I love you all. Happy New Year. We should only share good news. Hugs and kisses.